Hi everyone and welcome back to The Upside Dan. I'm super excited for this deep dive into The Upside because we will be discussing episode 9, the series finale of WandaVision. However, this is not even the only place you can hear me talk about WandaVision this weekend. Shawn from Lost in the Reel and I started a weekly show last week. We cover the hottest news and we react to the newest trailers. Go check that out. I will have a link down in the description. But one of our topics this week that just premiered today, Saturday, March 6th, features us talking about, giving our spoiler thoughts on WandaVision. So go check that out if you want to hear even more thoughts from me about WandaVision. But that's not even it. What? That's not even it. Nope, that's not even it. I don't know why I said that 3 times, but that's not even it. I will be on the live show, Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. However, they're not overly analyzing movies this week. We're going to be overanalyzing WandaVision as a whole. So I hope to see you there. Now let's get to the review. As always, there are spoilers in this review. These are my spoiler thoughts and spoiler recap of WandaVision Episode 9, the series finale. Also, there are time codes down in the description below. If you want to see my thoughts on a certain scene, go check that out or watch it in its entirety. I appreciate you either way. The events of WandaVision come to a head, and the destinies of all those who took part are determined. This show was created by Jack Schaefer and directed by Matt Shakman. Writers include Jack Schaefer, Megan McDonnell, Laura Donney, and Cameron Squires. This episode starts off right where we left off last week, which I thought was awesome. I was so excited to get back into this world. I rewatched the episode prior, right before getting right into this one. So we start out, as you know, Agnes has the boys by the necks. Wanda's out in the street. I just love that Tommy said, "Let go of my brother," to Agatha. He was really just trying to protect his brother. I thought that was a very sweet sibling moment. Wanda's like, "I can use my magic out here, or did you forget?" Agatha's like, "No, I'm counting on it." That's when I was like, oh. So yeah, Agnes, just like we saw, in the Salem flashback, she takes the powers. She absorbs them from the witches and, kills them. Feeds off their powers, like yo magic. So she's like, "I'm counting on it," to Wanda. When Wanda says, "I can use my powers out here," she wants her to use them. Agatha's like, "I take power from the undeserving. It's sort of my thing." She makes a deal with Wanda, which obviously I don't believe, but she makes a deal with Wanda. "If you give me your powers, I'll let you have this pathetic corner of the world to yourself." Wanda uses her powers to throw Agatha back. She lets go of the twins. Wanda's like, "To your room now." The twins want to stay and help, but she's like, "No, to your room." So they listen. Agatha comes up, and then Wanda, grabs a car with her powers behind Agatha and throws it at her, and she goes right through a house, basically. And Wanda goes to check it out. And this was a very cool, Easter egg to Wizard of Oz, because you see the boots under the car, very reminiscent of the witch's shoes under the house. And of course, Agatha is a witch. So I really liked that little Easter egg there. Wizard of Oz is such a great movie and such an iconic movie that I think a lot of people probably realized that that was supposed to be an ode to it. So in the reflection of the house's window, we see White Vision land. Wanda's like, "Vision?" And she goes up to him. He puts his hands on her cheeks. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. No. And he's like, "Wanda." And then he starts to squeeze. He starts to squeeze her skull. She's like, ah. She's raising up. She's trying to fight him with her powers, I think. And then Vision, the Vision we know from this show, he zooms in, takes White Vision out, pushes him into an RV, and the RV blows up. Wanda apologizes. She's like, "I should have told you everything, Vision. I'm so sorry." Agatha flies off. She's like, before she flies off, she's like, "Oh, your boyfriend and your ex in the same party. How awkward. Who will you choose?" And then Agatha kind of flies off. White Vision and Vision go up and fight. And Wanda starts to follow Agatha. Then we get Monica in an attic. Monica's knocking. She's so Wanda. And Evan Peters' character, Pietro, is like, "No one can hear you in here." And I was really excited. I was hoping we were going to get some Evan Peters reveal. We didn't in this scene. Monica goes for a window. Fake Pietro goes up to her and just touches her, and she flies back. Now we're back outside the hex. Hayward got Hayward captured Jimmy. I don't know what happened to the rest of the team, but he has Jimmy. Jimmy sees a phone on the table. He sneakily grabs it, and he says, my team will be here within the hour." Hayward's like, "You're bluffing." And he's like, "Am I?" And then they throw him, in the back. And Jimmy undoes the handcuffs and he calls his team and asks if they could be here within an hour. Wanda lands in the square, the town square. The mail truck comes by and he's like, "Don't shoot me, I'm just the messenger," which we heard the mailman say before in episode 2 to Agnes. Agatha shows up in like the air, kind of near a billboard. She grabs out the Darkhold. So that book that we saw in Agatha's lair was the Darkhold. People weren't sure because they've seen it in the comics. It doesn't look like that. And then in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I guess the Runaways too, we see it and it does not look like that. But those aren't kind of not canon now. So anyway, yeah, it's the Darkhold. Agatha tells Wanda it's her destiny to destroy the world. Then she snaps Dottie out of it. Dottie comes over and Dottie's like begging. She's frantic. She's like, "My name's Sarah." She's like, I haven't seen my daughter. She's locked in her room. Can I please see her? Can she be a part of one of your storylines? Can she be a friend of Billy and Tommy or a bully of them? She just wants to hold her daughter. Wanda is like, "Why are you making her say this to Agatha?" But she's not. She just cut the strings. She just cut the strings of Dottie. So Dottie says what she is feeling. That it's really Dottie, well, Sarah, saying that to Wanda. Agatha snaps like everybody in that town square out of it. And they're all kind of coming up to confront Wanda while Agatha is like chanting the spell. Then we get back into Monica, the attic of Pietro, and Monica's in there. Monica finds out that Evan Peters' character, Pietro, or what we've been calling him, is named Ralph. So it is Ralph. So I thought that was a fine reveal, but I didn't want Evan Peters to be Ralph. But at least now we've seen Ralph. But his last name is Boner. Yeah. So they brought Evan Peters in, had us theorizing that, it's going to be Quicksilver it's going to be Peter from the Fox universe, or it's going to be Pietro from MCU, or it's going to be another Quicksilver. They had us, or it's Mephisto. They had us theorizing all this stuff. And yeah, some of it is our fault, I will say. We hyped it up. We hyped some theories up too much. But with this one, you don't cast Evan Peters, who we know has played in X-Men before, who we know the X-Men are going to come into the MCU. So I don't think it was smart of them to, just as a joke, to cast Pietro. Pietro, Evan Peters as Pietro. I don't think it was smart, and then name his last name Boner. It's stupid. But it's whatever. I do have a theory on that. We'll get to that in a little bit. Monica tackles Evan Peters, Ralph, to the ground, rips off this magical necklace thing that's controlling him and says, "Nice to meet you, Ralph." Then we get back to the town square. The town square is confronting Wanda. They're all around her saying random things like, "I miss my home." And then one of the ladies who we've seen in a previous episode during, the talent show episode, she's like, "Tell my husband I love him and tell him never to come back here." They're telling her, she's poisoning them with her grief. Mrs. Hart says, "You're poisoning us with your grief." I believe it's Mrs. Hart that says that. Then Wanda's getting overwhelmed by everyone talking to her at once, which I understand. Wanda does her powers, and they're all in some choking, like the powers are choking them, and they're all on the ground. And she's like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And then she undoes it. And, Miss Hart is like, if you're not going to let us go, let us die. So even Norm says, when we have nightmares, they're your nightmares. So they're being tortured here, and Mrs. Hart obviously would rather die. So it's very tragic what Wanda's doing, and it's not right what Wanda's doing. She does promise that she's going to let them go. Agatha's like, heroes don't torture people. She breaks apart the hex and tells everyone to run. She's struggling with this. Everyone's running. Hayward's like, let's go in. They go in with the military trucks and stuff. And Vision and Tommy and Billy show up, and they're falling apart. She's disbanding the hex. So they're falling apart, and Agatha tells her one can't exist without the other. So the boys and Vision cannot exist without this hex. She's mixed them together. So, which we all assumed, especially after Vision at least. And then, so she stops disbanding the hex. And Vision, her, and the boys, they all embrace for a nice family moment in an Incredibles kind of moment, like the Pixar, The Incredibles. They all have their superhero poses as they're about to face the danger, which I really liked. I thought that was awesome. It's just so cool. I love this family. So Agatha actually tried to hit Wanda with a power thing, and Wanda blocks it with her powers, and they see that she's starting to go, old. Like, not old, but her hands are turning like dark, and she's losing her powers. White Vision and Vision are fighting. They go to a library, and Vision's like, I'm not the true Vision. And he's like, I'm going to need you to elaborate. We get back outside. Agatha lifts up the military members. And she's like, same story, different century. They're always going to have torches and pitchforks after us, Wanda. And she just going to slam them on the ground. But Wanda catches them with her powers and lets them down. Wanda's like, handle the military boys. Mama will be right back. And she goes up to fight Agnes. And the boys are going to handle the military, which I thought was awesome. So they handle the military, but Hayward gets out of his truck. He's mad, and he was really going to shoot these kids. He got a gun out. Yes, I believe he thinks they're fake, but you were going to shoot kids. That was just, you know, startling kind of to me. So he was going to shoot them, and then Monica sees this. She's like, stand down. She runs in front of him. The bullets go through her with her, like, superpowers. Her eyes are glowing. The bullets are going through her, like, literally, like, they're hitting her skin. She's taking bullets. One bullet goes past her. You see it go past. Billy catches it with his powers and drops it. I just loved that. Monica was like, nice tricks. I like yours too, the boy said. And it was just it was an MCU moment, those two lines. But I really liked it. Hayward gets in his truck. He backs up fast. And it looks like he was going to try to hit them. I don't know if he's trying to hit them or escape. But I don't think that was smart of him to try to hit them. Darcy has a great line here. She T-bones Hayward when he's trying to get away or trying to hit, you know, the kids and Monica or whatever. Darcy T-bones him with the food truck and says, have fun in prison. I just love that line, and it's all we see of Darcy in this episode, unfortunately. But that was just a great line. So Vision and White Vision are now talking about the ship of Theseus inside, how they're like questioning it kind of philosophically. Obviously, I'm not as smart as them, obviously. But in the Vision way, they're discussing this stuff. And they're discussing, when it rots and they replace the parts, is that the ship of Theseus? Is that the ship of Theseus? And they say, neither is the ship of Theseus, yet both are the ship of Theseus. So it's really, you know, metaphorical kind of, you know, for them. For these two, you know, the White Vision and Vision, neither of them are technically the real Vision. I mean, yes, the White Vision is his actual body, but, you know, the Vision that we've seen this show is created by Wanda. So now our regular Vision gives him his memories, and this White Vision says, I am Vision, and just flies off, not to be seen for the rest of the episode. But I do think we're going to see him again, of course, soon in the MCU. I actually was wondering at first if our Vision was trying to make him realize that he's Vision, and then his job is to destroy the Vision, so he would destroy himself. I was wondering if that's what Vision was trying to do, but it wasn't. So Wanda does this mind trick thing that we saw in Age of Ultron. She does it to Agatha. Agatha's back in Salem. She's tied to the stake. You know, her witch friends and family are dead on the ground. Wanda says, the difference between you and me is you did this on purpose. Then the witches start to raise. It's kind of a creepy scene. I like the little horror elements that this show introduces to us. I think that they're very well done. They're eerie, creepy, and they've just added enough. They sprinkled enough throughout the series to make it very intriguing. I love how different and bold this show can be. So the witches are rising. Agatha's scared. She's acting scared. I don't think she's actually scared. Because then the witches start to say, Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, you're the Scarlet Witch. You know, you're chaotic powers. You have chaotic powers. They start to go for Wanda. They take Agatha off the stake. They put Wanda on the stake. Agatha says, power isn't your problem, Wanda. It's knowledge. And you also see the Scarlet Witch headband start to form on her, like out of powers, form on her head during this scene, which is very good. Agatha makes her that deal again. I'll leave you alone. I'll fix your magic on this town, all the flaws in it. I'll fix that if you just give me your powers. I'll leave. And, which of course we don't believe. Wanda blasts everyone off and then lunges at Agatha and takes her down, and now we're back into the town square. They fall off a building. They go fly up in the air. It's a very cool scene. I liked a lot of the action and the special effects. Some of them were a little iffy, I'm not gonna lie. This finale is not perfect. It has some flaws in it. I wish it could have been longer. I think it should have been longer. Or, you know, split, or have 10 episodes altogether and answer more, and, you know, and I don't know. But anyway, it's definitely flawed, but I still really enjoyed it, and we'll get to what I really think of it, if I loved it, if it's one of the best MCU things at the end of this video, you know. So they're flying up in the air. Vision goes to try to stop Wanda, but Wanda stops him with her powers. Now Wanda's mad, and she's like, take it, I don't want it. She's throwing the powers at her, throwing throwing them left and right, hitting the Hex, hitting Agatha. She's just trying to give her all her powers, or so it seems. I was like, there's gotta be a sketch here. I'm wondering what's really going on. I didn't know. I didn't even know until it was said. But it's an exciting scene. I thought it looked really cool. And she's blasting. She's hitting the Hex. She's hitting Agatha, like I said. Until Wanda feels she looks powerless. She looks decrepit almost. And Agatha was cackling this whole time. And Agatha was like, once a spell is cast, you can't undo it. The world will always be broken, just like you. Like this world that you've created will always be broken, just like you. Agatha tries to use her powers. She tries to use them again. It's not working. Wanda starts to come back, get less decrepit, come back to her normal self. And then we see the background. We see on the Hex, there's these symbols that showed up. At first, for a second, I thought it was a ring, like Doctor Strange's ring, but it was not. These symbols show up, and Agatha's like, runes? And Wanda hits her with the line that Agatha taught her before. In a given space, only the witch who cast them can use her powers. Thanks for the lesson, but I don't need you to tell me who I am. And her costume starts to appear. Her Scarlet Witch costume is awesome. I loved this costume. I thought it looked so well. They blended, what we love from the comic book to make it kind of not look so silly, though. So yeah, in the Halloween episode, her costume, that was silly. But in this, they blended it with MCU Wanda and comic book Wanda, classic Scarlet Witch, and they blended that so greatly. I think the MCU does a great job with these superhero costumes to make them not look so silly, and funny, or whatever you want to call it. So it just looks epic. She looks great. I absolutely love Elizabeth Olsen's performance. And she just looks great as Wanda. She is Wanda at this point. The Scarlet Witch fits her so well. She's taking her powers back. Agatha's like, oh God, you don't know what you've done. Then they go down. They land on the ground. Agatha's like, what are you going to do? Just put me somewhere? Wanda's like, not somewhere. Here. Agatha's like, here? It's like, yeah, I think I'll give you the role that you chose. The nosy neighbor. No. She's like, I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're just cruel. Agatha says to Wanda, which she's bad, but she's kind of, like, to her, some people could see that as a good thing. She was really just trying to stop Wanda from becoming an evil being, too powerful. But yeah, the way she has done bad things, don't get me wrong. So anyway, Agatha's like, no, you'll need me. And Wanda's like, then I'll know where to find you. And then she turns her into Agnes again. And it's just like, hi, hon. And, in that sitcom-y, nosy neighbor kind of type voice. The boys and Wanda embrace, which is such a great scene. And, it's a scene that I saw a picture. It's from the comics. It's kind of an ode to that. It's a really sweet scene. I love this family. I really do. Which is going to make, the rest of this episode very sad. But Vision comes up. He's like, you can fix this. Just not for us. Wanda's like, yeah, just not for us. And then they're like, let's go home. And the Hex starts disbanding. Everything's turning back while they go home. They get home at the front door. Wanda and Vision turn into their, regular clothes, regular human clothes. Then they go up and they put the boys to bed. This starts the sad scene, really. It starts the sad scenes. Very emotional, very well written, very well acted stuff here. I'm not going to lie, I did cry during this episode, during these parts. Not like wailing, but like I did shed some tears. Just the acting is just so great. The emotion's just all there. Vision is like, your mother and I, there's a pause, trying to think of what to say. He's like, I'm very proud of you. Wanda's like, very proud. I just love this family moment. Wanda says a family is forever. We can never truly leave each other, even if we tried. Family is forever is definitely a great callback to, the Full House kind of episode when they lose the dog. They say family is forever. So it's a great callback to that. And, they kiss their boys goodnight. And you see the Hex kind of coming towards them in the background, outside the window, behind the kids. They stop at the doorway. Wanda's, Vision's like, good night, chaps. They say, good night, Dad, good night, Mom. Wanda's like, thanks for choosing me to be your mom. Oh my God, I loved this scene, and I love this scene that follows. Such great writing here. Great directing. As I said, great acting. Just really good performances. Wanda's down in the living room. She turns off one light. She goes to the other light. She turns it off. This is very reminiscent of, you know, kind of a trope in sitcoms that we've seen in finales where the character turns off a light at the end. And it's supposed to be symbolizing, obviously, you know, the show's ending. So I liked that. Maybe I'm thinking too much into that, but I think that that's what that was for. So she turns off the second light, and makes it dark, but then Vision, a second later, he turns on the other light again. And he's like, I read that it's bad news to say goodbye in the dark. Wanda's like, no, you didn't, with a chuckle. And he's like, perhaps not, but I want to see you. She's like, and there you are. I love this scene. I think Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen just have amazing chemistry together. So now we get to the real sad stuff. That was all sad as already. They go to the window and watch the hex. They go to the window and watch the hex go towards them. And Vision's like, I don't want to leave without knowing. What am I? You, Vision, are the piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me. You are a body of wires and blood and bone that I created. You are my sadness and my hope. But mostly you're my love. Which was just great lines again. Vision's like, I have been a voice with no body. A body, but not human. And now, a memory made real. Who knows what I might be next? He says, we have said goodbye before, so it only stands to reason. Wanda finishes the sentence and she says, we'll say hello again. Just such an emotional part. They embrace, they kiss. As the hex is coming towards them, we see the hex start to, you know, change everything around them. Vision starts to disappear. He says, so long, darling, as his face is disappearing. And then he's gone, and the house is gone, and Wanda's back with a not built house in the same old Westview as when she arrived. She puts her hood up then and walks through town. The town folk are all staring at her. She does feel sorry for what she did, but what she did was bad, and I wish she, I don't want to say I wish it, because I love Wanda, I love this character, but she does deserve some repercussion for it. And I think we will get it, maybe eventually, or something, you know, or she'll, you know, I don't know. We'll see what we get in the MCU in the future. She doesn't really get any repercussion here. She goes up to Monica. Monica says they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. Wanda's like, it wouldn't change how they see me. She asks Monica if she hates her. Monica says, given the chance and given your power, I'd bring my mom back. I know I would. Wanda's like, I'm sorry for all the pain I caused. Monica's like, I know. Wanda says, I don't understand this power, but I will. Goodbye, Monica. Monica says, bye, Wanda. Wanda flies off as you hear sirens approach the town. Wanda flies off, and then Monica's like, and good luck. Wanda goes to the edge of town. She looks back at the sign in the town for a few seconds. She's back in her costume now, just with the hood up, and she looks back at the town, and then just flies off. And that is the end of the finale. We do have 2 more scenes, though. We have a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene in this episode. So if you have not watched the finale, but you're watching this for some reason, or if you did watch the finale and you missed one or both of the scenes, there is a mid-credit scene and there is a final scene at the very end, post-credit scene. So definitely check those out. I am definitely excited. So here, let's get to the mid-credit scene. The mid-credit scene, we see Jimmy telling everyone what to do, being a good leader, a nice, good leader, unlike Hayward. Monica approaches him, and she's like, authority looks good on you. And he's like, where's Darcy? And Monica's like, something about, you know, debriefs. I don't like debriefs, or debriefs are boring, or something like that. So we don't see Darcy again. But we can thank her for that, and then it's Hayward getting taken away. Then a agent comes up to Monica and says, we need you in the theater. She goes to the theater, and then that agent, she's a Skrull. So she turns into a Skrull. The Skrull says, I was a friend of your mother's. He's heard you've been grounded. He needs to see you. Monica's like, where? And she points up, so space. So I think that's just setting up for Captain Marvel 2, which I'm definitely excited for. I've absolutely loved Tiana Paris through this whole series. I think she's very good, and I'm definitely excited to see what else she does with the character in the future. Then we get to the post-credit scene. We get some shots of mountains, water, and Wanda is living in the middle of nowhere, basically, in a cabin. And we just see her sipping tea on the porch. She goes in, and then we zoom into the back room there, and we see an astral projection. Then we see an astral projection of Wanda in the Scarlet Witch gear, with her eyes red, she's reading the Darkhold. She's studying the Darkhold. The astral projection, it kind of zooms in on it, and you hear Billy and Tommy screaming for help, Mom. So I'm definitely excited for that. I definitely hope they bring Billy and Tommy back. I have no doubt they'll bring Billy and Tommy back, and White Vision will probably play the role, you know, of what we've known the Vision to be. So I definitely wanted to say Billy and Tommy. I know some people will think, oh, it's a comic movie. They always bring people that are dead back, and there's never any finality to it all. But I still think that scene, that when they say goodbye, and whenever they say goodbye, it means something. It's emotional. It's well written. It's still sad. Like Vision says, who knows what he'll be next time. And it only stands to reason that we'll say hello again. I think these scenes are still important. They're still emotional. They're still well performed, you know. Yeah, so I'm definitely excited to see Billy and Tommy again, and hopefully White Vision soon. But that was a good, you know, ending scene, I thought. I really liked this series finale. And this cabin in the middle of nowhere kind of reminded me of Thanos at the end of Infinity War when he just sat down, you know, at his cabin on his planet. I liked that. So anyway, what did I think of the series finale? I was totally satisfied with it. Like I said, there were some flaws that I think could have been fixed. I think it could have been longer. Some of the special effects didn't wow me, I'm not going to lie. Most of them did, I will say. Most of the action did. It felt like an MCU movie. I thought it was really well done. I just wish that this episode was longer and fleshed some of that out more, and maybe we had a little bit more fighting, a little bit more epicness. But for the most part, I was satisfied with it. I let my theorizing go for this finale because I did not want to be disappointed like I was at the end of episode 7 when we were all theorizing who's going to be the aerospace engineer, and it didn't really happen. So I really didn't want to theorize for this finale, so I was satisfied with it for that reason. You know, so many of our theories did not come to fruition, but you know what, I didn't care because like I said, I had fun with this finale. I thought it was a really good ending piece for this, you know, great, you know, journey of a show. So let me just talk about some of the behind the scenes thing with the interviews with the cast. Hyping our theories up, kind of. I know some of it is our fault for thinking too much, but stuff like Paul Bettany saying, oh, I'm going to be working with an actor that I can't wait, that I've always wanted to work with. You know, yes, that would have been funny after this finale, because then we know, oh, he just meant Vision if he said that after this finale. He just meant himself. That's funny. But to really say it before the show has ended, I know as actors you want to hype things up, but I didn't think that that was right, you know. And the same with Elizabeth Olsen saying that there's a Luke Skywalker. Well, so she didn't say it. The interviewer asked her that. Is there a Luke Skywalker type cameo at the end of WandaVision or in WandaVision? She says, yes, basically. And I'm excited for it. But we didn't really get that. Maybe Evan Peters was, and I don't think Evan Peters himself would be a big cameo. But what it means for the future of the MCU would be huge, because that means even though we already knew that X-Men was going to be introduced, that was the start of the X-Men. I thought that would have been really cool, and it could still be, because I'll get to my theory on the Evan Peters thing in a minute. And then again with Tiana Paris saying, can't wait for you guys to meet the aerospace engineer. I mean, we didn't. I mean, yeah, that woman, but I don't think that was the engineer. I think we might still meet them in the future, so she could be, but we would think that would be in the show if you're saying that. So maybe we will meet an aerospace engineer in the future, and it is someone big. But for now, we didn't meet him in this show, which we wanted, or her. We didn't meet them in this show. Like I said, I get it. You have to hype up your show. You have to get people to want to watch it. But I don't think that that was the right way of going about it. So I did not like the big reveal for Evan Peters in this episode. We found out who Ralph was because he's mentioned in almost every episode by Agnes. But I just didn't like, first of all, that they did a boner joke. And that was the reveal. That was it. I mean, at least make him a Quicksilver from a different universe, not even the Fox universe or the MCU. Just make him something. I really, you know, I wish they did. And there was a theory going around that I saw after this finale that was really interesting to me. What if Evan Peters' character, Ralph, is the witness that Jimmy mentions, that Jimmy's sent to that town to look for a witness that went missing? Or, you know, something like that. And what if Ralph is the name of that he has to go by to be protected, witness protection? The only thing that maybe trumps that is that Jimmy, I'm guessing, would know what his witness looks like, and he's seen Pietro on the screen. So I don't think that works, but it would be interesting to see if there's still a reveal, if Evan Peters is going to show up in the future of the MCU. I'm not sure if he will. I would not mind it, and I would not mind a reveal that he's at least a Quicksilver. Come on. I think this show is amazing and absolutely one of the best MCU projects. It made me so much more excited for the future of the MCU than I have been, because after Endgame you're like, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Then we're getting all the rumors about Spider-Man 3. Sounds cool. And we're getting this now, and I think that the future of the MCU is looking brighter than ever. I'm so excited for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Excited just for the future as a whole, the future of the Disney Plus MCU shows, the future of the MCU movies. I have a few more WandaVision videos planned. I know what you're thinking. The show just ended. How many more videos could you possibly have? Well, of course, we have Marvel Studios Assembled coming up. And that is the making of WandaVision. So this Friday, it's the making of WandaVision. I'll be watching and reviewing that, giving you my thoughts on that. I'm definitely excited to watch it. But I also plan on doing a shorter series review with not as many spoilers, but kind of a series review. And I will give you my rating of the series in that video. And then I want to do like a deep dive series review, a longer series review like these deep dives, and give you really my thoughts on why I love this show, how much I love it, what makes me love it, everything. I know those are kind of the same. But anyway, I'm excited for that video, and I kind of want to do an episode ranking where I also will give you a rating of each episode as well, since I have not been doing that. Because I don't want to give a rating while I'm watching a show of each episode. I'm excited for all of that WandaVision content. There's a playlist for all my deep dive WandaVisions up there, and then there's a WandaVision playlist that's everything, and that'll have like the non-deep dive stuff in it as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to all of that. Please subscribe if any of that sounds interesting to you. Like this video, comment on this video. What did you think of the finale of WandaVision? You can have all the spoiler talk down there that you want. What did you think of it? Did you love this series? Did you think it ended well? Even though this was called series finale, do you think there's a possibility of a season 2? I don't personally, but it'd be interesting to see. And I would love anything from Jack Schaefer now and this character. So what do you think? Blow up those comments. If you're still watching, thank you. Please check out my weekly show with Shawn from Lost in the Reel. The description will have all the links for that, and Rob's show, which I will be on Sunday, March 7th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Go check that out. We will be overanalyzing the heck out of WandaVision. If you liked what you've seen here and you want to see more, click around here to see more. My subscribe button is somewhere. Please like this video, comment on this video, share my videos and my channel with the WandaVision fans in your life. Hit that notification bell, subscribe, and come to the Upside Dan.